Hi, this is Ben, and today I want to start with a citation from a book I really loved, still do it. Albert Camus, The Myth of Sisyphus. And I start right at the beginning of the book, first chapter, which is called The Absurd and Suicide. There's only one serious philosophical problem: suicide. The decision if life makes sense or not answers the main question about philosophy. Everything else, if the world has 3 dimensions or the mind has 9 or 12 categories, all of that comes later. Yes, I think great way to start a book. And yes, why did I choose that citation? I think the question of suicide is very relevant today. You know, suicide rates in the whole world, they are going down because poverty is going down. But in the Western cultures who are not poor, their suicide rates are spiking. For example, the suicide rate for children, under 12, has doubled in the last 10 years. And consistent with that, in America, one of the highest suicide rates is at a high school in Silicon Valley. So you see that even with money and with status and with everything and every opportunity you can wish for, the most suicides are in that part of America. Isn't that some kind of interesting? Yes, and suicide is only the extreme of the crisis I think we are dealing with today. Just behind the suicides you have spiking rates of depression and anxiety and drug addiction and habits of self-destruction, digital escape. I will put a link in the description below of a presentation by John Vervaeke, and there he lays this meaning crisis, which is the term for this whole phenomena. Mental health crisis, opiate crisis, suicide crisis in Western societies. He coined the term meaning crisis, and in the video below, which I will put in the description, yes, you can get a bigger picture, the bigger picture of it. And the interesting question is, okay, why is it the young, the affluent, the children at Silicon Valley, they are kind of the top, the forefront of society. Why are they killing themselves? And I think this is not a coincidence. I don't think it's just, spoiled brats who I don't know what, are just idiotic millennials. I think, these kids are probably smart, and they are just, the reason why they kill themselves is just because they have, from the beginning of their life, ingested, the soul of this contemporary culture, which is killing you. And I laugh. I think that's very sad, but it's very ironic to live in a culture which is killing you, because culture was always about preserving life. Yeah. So, and I say this because people in Silicon Valley, they as their parents are, very at the very forefront of this society. They they live, they really identify with the premises of this society very much, because if you would not do it, you wouldn't be on the forefront. And also, it's not about, this high school in Silicon Valley. It's also about, children in the whole Western societies. The depression, the anxiety, the suicides. It's because, these people, they just know these last 20, 30 years. And their parents, they were still embedded in another kind of culture, and their grandparents even more so. So as the culture changes, children, also, ingest this transforming culture, and this culture we live in at the moment does not seem to be very healthy. And, this is, as a point about this video series, I want to, take a look if these kids are making, an irrational, sick decision, or if they are acting very rational. When you take the premises of contemporary culture, they identify it with that. They think through it. They live by it, and then they say, I cannot live like that, and they have nothing else, so their pain is so big, they kill themselves. I think this is my thesis. I don't know. John Vervaeke, Paul van der Klee, they also talk about this. I just like to formulate this a little bit more radical. Because that's cool. And yes, but still serious thing. But when you laugh about things, it's kind of a relief, because you are on top of what you laugh about. So I don't laugh about these children. I'm very sad for them, but the whole point about it is, makes me want to go into a mode of distancing myself from the problem by laughing. Ask Jonathan Peugeot about this. He says he always laughs at the most inappropriate parts of his videos. Okay, so one time again I will lay out the point of the whole series. It will be I think 6 till 8 singular videos, all, but they all follow, an argumentative line. But I want to, cut them so it's more structured. But, the thesis I want to argue for is that people chose the option of suicide not because they are some kind of sick or spoiled, it's just because they have sucked up the ideas of this culture, and that's the conclusion they take. Okay. At the bottom of this the description of the video description, I will add the titles of the singular videos. I just go through them now. I think that people killing themselves because they cannot find meaning in this culture, and that's the first title of a singular video. Why can't we live without meaning? Okay, and next video is why is life finally meaningless if God is dead? This is a situation of our culture now. God is dead, and I am going to argue for that life is finally meaningless in this culture. Yeah, I just keep it that general. I will go into detail later. And, so you have the problem. You can't live without a meaning, and without God there can't be any meaning, so you are kind of screwed. So people try to get out of this problem by different ways, and this will be the titles of the next singular videos. It's why can't I decide what my meaning of life is? That's the answer you always get about what's the meaning of life. There is none, so you just have to give life meaning yourself, and I will argue that this is not working. Fifth point is why is private spirituality not an option? God is dead, but maybe I can do my own kind of small religious thing, and I think everything still happens for a reason, but I can't really say why. And people are creating their own kind of religions, but they are really not something you can live in. It's just not working. Next point, why is psychotherapy not an option to our suffering? That's what they tell you. Oh, you have a depression. Take this med, go to the therapist, and he will fix you. And I think, yeah, of course, a therapist can, decrease your suffering, but at the end, it's not that you are suffer because you are sick. It's because the world is sick in which you live in, and that's the origin also of your sickness. All right, I'm looking very much forward to presenting this series, and yeah, thanks for watching. Bye bye.